Hey, what's up, good people? I'm QC. This is a special interview for Talkin and Grubbin, and I've been wanting to talk to this YouTuber for a long time. He gives the latest news, pop culture, and sports news. This is one LVZ of one LVZ NBA Talk. How you doing?
I'm doing good, brother. Pleasure to be here.
Glad to have you on. And congrats on hitting 1,000 subscribers.
Oh, that's on my Peckerwood Punishment channel. We still need to get LVZ NBA Talk pumping. We need to get y'all up to breast. I can't. I'm not one-dimensional. I love the NBA, but I love my people too. So for those who hit on LVZ NBA Talk, but not Peckerwood Punishment, go there and you'll get the latest news, info, and the word on the streets from the community. And for those who are familiar with Peckerwood Punishment, but not LVZ NBA Talk, go there. You'll see the greatest player to ever play the game, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, as a thumbnail. And I debate any of you who want to tell me different.
Mr. Skyhook himself. All right, for those that don't know, what made you start making YouTube videos?
The original reason I made YouTube videos was because my sons, I wanted them to have a documentation of how their father thought, felt, and what drove him and what I expected of them. Okay. What it turned into was me having to inform the community about what's going on, what's happening, why it's happening, what we can do to alleviate it, what we're going to do to alleviate it, and what we have to do to stop it.
All right, that's real good. Okay, now let's get into the NBA. Who's been the most surprising team and who's been the most disappointing team so far this season?
The most disappointing easily is the Rockets. The Rockets are easily the most disappointing team there is. That's the most disappointing team, the Rockets, because we all expected with the Rockets, we expected them to be at least one of the top three in the West. We didn't expect them to drop all the way down to being one of the three worst in the West. So that's one of my biggest disappointments. My biggest surprise, not really the Lakers. I wanted to say the Denver Nuggets and the Milwaukee Bucks. The Milwaukee Bucks have been outstanding in games against big teams like the Raptors. With and without Giannis Antetokounmpo, they have wins. They've been able to go out west and beat the Warriors. The Nuggets all seem to be number one right now in the West. So who expected that to happen? Just last year, they were fighting to get in the playoffs. From 8-1, so far, the most surprising team to me has been Denver and and Milwaukee.
Okay, now with the Rockets, why have they struggled to start this season? Because I think it's the main reason they're struggling. They really miss players like Trevor Ariza
and Luke Mbamute. They miss players like Ryan Anderson. Even though he wasn't much of a defensive player, his offense and ability to stretch the floor at the full and be a catch and shoot guy was invaluable. They really needed Luke Mbamute and Trevor Ariza, and the reason why is that defensive chemistry. Those two players weren't the greatest offensive players, but that's not what Houston needs. Houston doesn't have a problem scoring. They have a problem with people staying committed to stop you from scoring. And when they lost that and didn't have a way to replace it, with other teams getting better, law average is going to happen that you're going to do worse.
That's very true. Definitely true. Now, I know you're a Lakers fan, so how high is the ceiling for the Lakers this season with LeBron on the team now?
Western Conference Finals, depending on how the growth continues of the others around LeBron and LeBron's commitment to being aggressive. I've already seen a lot of passive LeBron. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We done seen it with Kick It Then Went Crazy and lost his damn mind. They called me ready to kill somebody. Ready to kill somebody. He done woke me up out my sleep. No, you got to get your ass up. LeBron just choked the whole game away. Like, Kick It, I was asleep. Look at the highlights real quick and call me back. I wake up thinking, oh, man. Seems to be he done choked the damn game away. Fuck. So, I hate I seen that. Lonzo Ball, last night was a very good game against Charlotte, but he's not been impressive. He hasn't shown that he's really stepped his game up. Brandon Ingram, he fights just like he plays basketball. Them wide open big shots, he always misses. As Chris Paul, he was wide open. That was a big shot. He missed Chris Paul. Right?
Definitely. Yep.
So, Western Conference Finals depending on the others, because I still think you can beat guys like the Grizzlies and the Nuggets. The Rockets, we could probably beat them in a 7. I really think we could beat them in a 7, even though Big Game James be frying our ass. But, I think we could beat them. OKC may be tough, but Paul George always shrinks against LeBron James. Let's just be real.
Very true.
And the only guy we would have to worry about is Westbrook, and you good for him losing 2 games, even with the triple-double.
That's definitely true.
That's one of my favorite players, but he good for losing some games. I mean, that's no disrespect. Kobe used to lose some games. Kobe used to be good for losing games.
That's true, too.
The rest of the team out.
Very true. He can shoot you back in, shoot you back out.
They think I'm disrespecting. I'm just telling the truth.
Okay, now, speaking of you and Ticket TV, Phil Jackson was spotted in the Lakers facility last week. Now, both of you have difference of opinion on Phil Jackson. He feels that the Lakers should bring back Phil Jackson. You don't. Why wouldn't you want Phil Jackson back with his 11 championships, including 5 with the Lakers?
Because none of them damn players that he had is on this damn team. I repeat, all that 11 ring shit sound real good when you got, let me go ahead and break it down for you. Michael Jordan, Horace Grant, Scottie Pippen, and John Paxson. You got an ailing Lakers team with no Kareem. You got an aging, broke up Detroit team. You got, a once all-star Bill Cartwright from New York. So now you got a big man and then other big men. You done drafted a Stacey King. You made a 3 championship run. The next time over, you got Dennis Rodman, Scottie Pippen, and Michael Jordan. Then you get Shaq, Kobe, and Glenn Wright. Come on, man. He don't got that right.
And also,
that's my problem.
And also, one player you forgot to mention from those Bull teams on the second three-peat is Ron Harper.
Ron Harper. And look, he also, just like Horace Grant, was on some of them Laker teams that won championship. Right?
True. That's true.
So what I'm saying is he don't got that mix. He don't got that mesh. The problem going to be certain players going to have to go. If you want me to sign on with Phil Jackson, you got to get me Phil Jackson caliber players. Stars. Phil can't coach no real players up like that. He don't got time for that.
Okay, you also said that Phil wouldn't be able to coach in today's NBA. Why do you feel that he wouldn't be able to coach in today's NBA?
Because these kids don't listen. These kids ain't listening to that shit. These kids want to run. For real. Why do you think Phil need an older, experienced team? Because that team don't need to win off his athleticism. Nowadays, look, how you going to be trying to run a triangle? Motherfuckers is shooting 3 as soon as they come across that. See what I'm saying?
Yeah. Now,
Not unless you're running the triangle from the out of bounds line. That's my point.
yeah, that's why a lot of teams don't run the triangle because it's too easy to defend. And plus, you gotta have the right type of players to run that system.
It broke up.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Now with the triangle, that's why a lot of teams don't run the triangle because it's so easy to defend. Plus, you gotta have the right players to run that system.
Exactly. Everybody act like they just ran the triangle with anybody, and it didn't work.
Not at all.
That's the problem. The triangle don't just work with anybody. I mean, it helps if your triangle includes Pippen, Rodman, and Jordan, Pippen, Grant, and Jordan, and Rice. Look, your shit. Look, man, your triangle look meaner than a motherfucker, don't it?
Very mean.
Bryant and Bynum, yeah, your triangle
And Odom.
than a motherfucker. But then when you talk about Ingram, Kuzma, and James, I'm not impressed. I'm not scared either.
Right. Now, you and I both agree that Phil limited his other star players and very good players such as Scotty, Paul Gasol, Andrew Bynum. Okay, how did he limit them in your opinion?
Oh, easily. By making them take a sacrifice in the offense with shots just to feed the ego of Kobe Bryant. And I love Kobe, but it was some games we can all admit, Kobe would admit, he might have shot a little more than he needed to. It was other games where Kobe had to do that because Paul Gasol ain't got no heart. So, and it was sometimes where Kobe didn't trust him. My point was this. You still needed to be thinking about posting him up more, getting him in better position to score, especially when he was scoring and had him running. You was using his passing ability, which was good, and you was putting him in the high post to keep him away from banging sometimes. But sometimes you wasn't just feeding Kyle all the time, but I will give it to Phil Jackson. He got the most out of Paul Gasol because Paul Gasol would not have been a winner if he didn't play with Phil Jackson and Kobe Bryant. So I got to be fair at the same time.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, now back to the Thunder. Do you think the OKC Thunder are for real?
Very. Because I've been scared looking at them play. You know why? It seems like Russell Westbrook ain't got a problem with letting shooters score more than him and letting letting Paul George be the leading scorer. If they do that, they could be the best team in basketball.
Yeah, and also people forget about Dennis Schroeder.
Yes, because if he can become an all-star and they make and really make Westbrook what he is, a two guard, and still can give you those numbers, that's gonna be dangerous.
Yeah, and also they got Steve Adams. I think he's very underrated for a big man.
Oh yes, he is. Steven Adams does all the dirty work. He's a rim protector. He's an inside presence. He eats up space. He'll change your shot or make you avoid coming in the lane.
Yeah.
He makes free throws. He makes educated passes. So I don't got nothing bad about Steve Adams. He can play ball.
Definitely. Okay, now I gotta speak about the Warriors. Which team in the West is the biggest threat to the Warriors this year from them going back to the NBA Finals?
The Warriors. Warriors are still their own biggest threat. I mean, they can still play to the level that they're playing, and yet and still if they can still play the level that they're playing, and yet still be in the top 2 or 3, I'll take it. You dig what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, when they get healthy, what happens? Who's the best team in basketball? The goddamn Warriors. So We talking that.
Okay.
We talking like that's the Warriors.
Okay, now there's been debates about the Warriors. Are they a team built or bought? How do you feel?
They're built and bought. That's not. I mean, think about it. How did they get? Well, let's analyze this. Who is their most important player?
Steph.
And how was he acquired?
He got drafted.
Okay, who is their best player?
KD.
How did they acquire him?
Free agency.
Okay. After that, who is their third best player?
I have to say Clay.
How did they acquire him?
Drafted.
Exactly. On the floor right now, who is their fourth best player?
Draymond.
And how was he acquired?
He got drafted too. But that was a diamond but that was a steal right there, because what was he, second round?
That's what the draft is about. Just like Kyle Kuzma. First of all, nobody should have slept on Draymond Green. He was the leading scorer, leading rebounder, and one of the best assist men at Michigan State, who lost the national championship, and he was one of their best players.
That's true.
You chose to draft him that low. I always thought he was okay. I just didn't know what position he would play.
Even though I still can't stand Draymond Green, but that's another discussion for another day.
That's another subject. Yeah, there's a lot of players I can't stand, but I'm gonna give them props. You know what I'm saying?
Now we got to talk about the Toronto Raptors. Man, these dudes have been balling. This is my surprise team, because I think they would still be good, but I think they would be doing what they're doing since they traded DeMar DeRozan. So what's their highest ceiling this year?
Getting put out in the playoffs again.
Oh, that's cold. So you don't think they can come out of the East?
I don't think nothing is different. Look, I think all y'all drinking the Kool-Aid that ain't even tasting as good as it tastes just the same as it tasted last damn year, the year before that, and the year before that. What happened? The goddamn whatchamacallit was number one.
Yeah, that's true. The Raptors were the number one seed.
So, and now we all knew what's the name was not that good.
Right, the Cavs.
So what I'm saying is, if these motherfuckers already knew, look, we already know what the Raptors were. I see that Kawhi Leonard is a better player, and I know he's a better player than DeMar DeRozan. But with that being said, when I see you lose to the Bucks, when it was your role players versus their role players, and then their best players versus your best players, and you lose to them, I don't get it. I don't believe you.
Wow.
I don't believe in it. So, I'm sorry. The Raptors, I still don't got them beating the Celtics, and I still don't got them yet. So.
Okay, so speaking of Bucks, are the Milwaukee Bucks for real this year?
What?
Are the Bucks for real?
Yeah, they're a real threat, but this is the weird thing. I don't think they can beat Philly.
Wow.
I don't think they can beat Philadelphia. That's the only team. Now, mind you, if Jimmy Butler is healthy. Jimmy Butler's not healthy, I don't like their chances.
Okay. Speaking of Philly, I definitely think they really improved, adding Butler. And I think they're equal to the Raptors, Celtics, and Bucks. Excuse me. But what would hold them back from coming out of the East this year with Jimmy Butler?
Injury and lack of depth. Running into Boston at the wrong time.
Yeah, I do agree on that lack of depth. It seemed like the 76ers, it seemed like they're it's too starter heavy.
Right. I think that 3-star effect always out trumps them. Like, that's partner expression. Yeah, 3-star is better than 2 stars. Having 3 stars always better than having 2.
That's definitely true. But if I were Elton Brand, I would definitely look for a pretty solid bench player at the trade deadline.
Now I know that I know my man Ticket is gonna love me saying this. I don't want to get this messed up. I would like to see them go for Carmelo.
Really?
Yeah.
That would be.
I'm not expecting nothing great from them.
Me either. But that would
I'm
be.
just expecting something good.
That would be an interesting move. I mean, you're not asking Melo to give you 25 points a game anymore. You just ask him to at least give you maybe 15 at the most. If he can do that off the bench and hit a few shots for you, then that would definitely be the move for Philly.
I would put him in. Listen to this. See, since you got in the fourth quarter, I can assuage his ego because I can run Simmons, Reddick, Butler, Anthony, and Embiid, and not worry about the defensive liability that he is, because Embiid makes up at the rim. Butler is a great help defender, and so is Ben Simmons. And then you add that length, it's going to be hard to shoot. All Melo has to do is be Frankenstein.
Pretty much.
Stand there with your arms up.
Pretty much.
You can play the fourth quarter, meaningful minutes, and get a chance to make big shots on a team that don't have depth.
Man, that is one hell of a fourth quarter lineup. Now on to the Celtics. Now I was impressed with what they did last year, getting to Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals without Kyrie and Gordon Hayward. But for some reason, I feel like they need to make another big move to really win the championship. Do you agree or disagree?
I kind of feel the same way, man. I know. I kind of feel the same way. I see what you saying. Like the other day, I watched the game with Kyrie and Wall had an old-fashioned dude. And Kyrie had 38 and all that. And I said, they had to go to overtime with the fucking Wizards. They missing something.
Yeah.
They missing something. And I don't know what it is. And I know it's gonna have to be, if they make a move, they're going to have to move Jaylen Brown or somebody like that. And that's going to mess up their chemistry.
Right.
So you got to bring in the right player. And I think when they let Jimmy Butler get away, that was the right player.
Yeah, definitely. Because that's all, you know. I lost my train of thought for a second. But, yeah, they definitely would have to give up Jaylen Brown. And I don't know why Danny Ainge won't pull the trigger, because you can get a lot for him.
Yeah, but Jaylen Brown offers them defensive versatility and the ability to guard Kevin Durant and not lose Jason Tatum. And nobody else gives you that. And that's why I said the Jimmy Butler trade would have been good, because that gives you a guy that can't stop KD, but can guard it, or at least try to make it tough because of his length or his size. Now, nobody is as tall and as long and as good as KD. We know that, but maybe Giannis. But that's what I'm saying, man. You need guys like Jaylen Brown to make life tough for the Durantula. So if you talk about winning a championship, it's hard to get rid of a guy, I think, like a Jaylen Brown.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, even if you get rid of Jaylen Brown, you still have a dude like Jason Tatum.
Yeah, but Jason Tatum, does he guard effectively?
That's the only problem.
And that's what I'm talking about with KD. We talking about somebody that gives you the ability to still keep Jason Tatum fresh, because guess what? He ain't got the guarding.
Right.
He just match his offense. And Jaylen Brown can still guard KD is 12, 15, and maybe them, like the game they beat Golden State last year, maybe get hot and give you 24.
That's true. Okay, now, if you were Danny Ainge, now Jimmy Butler's off the table, he's going to Philly. What other star out there would you trade for to the Celtics?
That was a good question, because I was about to ask you that, my brother. That's my problem. That's why I'm not so gung-ho on getting rid of them, because I said the same thing you said. It's like, it seems like for them to win, they need one more big player, but I don't know who. And you're not getting Kawhi Leonard. You know you're not getting that.
Right.
Maybe you could get Anthony Davis if you get rid of Horford, but are you going to get rid of so much to where you're not even going to be a factor no more?
Wow.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, say you go after Anthony Davis on that team, and you give him Al Horford because they're going to need a big man. Who we say? Jaylen Brown.
Right. And at least a draft pick.
Yeah, and the draft picks and shit like that. We give them all of that, right? Yeah, and still, when we give them all of that, are we still good enough to win the title now?
Wow, yeah. Yeah, you giving up basically 3 for 1.
Yeah.
Unless
AD, you got what? You got AD, you got Tatum, you got Morris, you got Kyrie. I guess what, you start Marcus Smart now?
pretty much.
And you're going to probably lose Terry Rozier.
Right.
Yeah. If I'm fucking the Pelicans, I want Scurry Terry. I want Jaylen Brown. I take Horford and a draft pick.
Okay.
And I give you AD and some random nigga on the bench.
Yeah, that would be an interesting move. Now, far as the NBA Finals, let's just say, purpose of conversation, Golden State is in there. Which team in the East do you think is the biggest threat to derail the Warriors from three-peating?
Actually, it's a multitude of them. And that's what's so funny. I can't figure if I think Boston's the bigger threat, the Raptors the bigger threat, or the Bucks. I think all three of them can beat them in a 7-game series. If they don't get okay, well let me break down each team. DeMarcus Cousins is back and everything works perfect. Golden State runs away with it like we kind of expect might happen. Now they going into the finals. If they face the Raptors, Kawhi Leonard is going to be a hell of a matchup on KD. Kyle Lowry plays good defense against Steph Curry, but that's the regular season.
Right.
And we know it's a difference between regular season Kyle Lowry and playoff Kyle Lowry. Am I lying?
No, you're not lying.
So what Kyle Lowry am I going to see in the championship when I see this Kyle Lowry choking in the playoffs?
Yeah, that's a pretty good point. He has had some clunkers in the playoffs.
Right, so I like that matchup, but can I be confident in that matchup against Steph Curry? And then the Klay Thompson, Danny Green thing, we've seen that before, so we know that could be a tough matchup for Klay. But then we know Klay could set a record for threes hit in a goddamn quarter. So the big thing will become Durantula. Well, we said Durantula versus Kawhi. The big thing gonna become is DeMarcus Cousins gonna outplay JV.
Right.
Ibaka, JV and Ibaka, and can OG Ogie and PJ Siakam give them enough points and defense See, that's the thing about the Raptors. The Raptors are so fucking deep. They can throw waves at Golden State. And Golden State's bench is not as good as theirs.
Not at all. Andre Iguodala, he's getting older, so is Sean Livingston. You know what? I still can't figure out why they gave Iguodala all that money. I would have let him walk.
Because his loyal, his franchise loyalty, and he getting near the end of his years. And it's one of them things where he been here for all the championships, and he was one of the first key moves that they thought in making a championship.
Yeah.
Because remember, one of their big free agent signings was when they signed Iguodala. Shouts out to Mark Jackson again.
Right, and also Iguodala was Finals MVP against my Cavs. Boo.
Yeah, and he sacrificed.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? He
Yep.
sacrificed.
And speaking of Iguodala, I look back on it now. If Iguodala is not inserted to the starting lineup in 2015, 9 times out of 10, the Warriors probably lose that series. Now back to the. Oh no, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Nah, go ahead.
Now back to the Lakers for a second. Now I know you don't feel Luke Walton as a coach. Why is that?
No. Cause man, Luke Walton is a front runner. What do you do? A team that already won the championship and got significantly better the next year, and the coach got sick, so the team ran off a record amount of wins, and then he get a job after that. When you had coaches who was coach of the year and got fired, no, he not no coach, man. No, look, what's the name ain't get a job after he damn near coached him to the championship the rest of the year, right? Mike Brown ain't getting no job.
Yeah,
and
that's
they
true.
won the championship that year. The year Luke Walton coached them, they didn't win. Talk about that was a record amount of wins. Yeah, but they ain't even win a title.
That's very true, and choked a 3-1 lead.
Right.
Okay.
When Mike Brown was there, shit, he almost got shot by police. Started laughing about the shit, if y'all remember that.
Yeah, I remember that. That was last year.
That shit made me so mad. You almost got killed by police and started laughing about the shit. And he coached him down there. He coached him to a win. And guess what? He ain't getting no job. He's still an assistant coach.
He hasn't even gotten job offers, which is kind of a shock to me. Because he was a coach. He was a coach of the year. He coached a team to the finals, and he's been with Golden State. And he's been with Golden State these last few years. I definitely thought Mike Brown would at least gotten some offers for some teams or some interviews. I mean, like you said, Luke Walton, he got a job for just coaching the Warriors to half of a season. And Alvin Gentry got another coaching job after they won the title in 2015.
That shit crazy.
That's bizarre. Now, if you were Magic Johnson, which coach you would get to replace Luke Walton?
Mark Jackson, me first. If I was Magic, but if I'm really Magic, I would get Phil Jackson, because Magic. Let me just get Peckerwood for him. I love you, Magic Johnson. You was a big buck dancing coon. Because you would love a white man just telling you what to do, like Pat Riley. Look, an unqualified white man sitting over there telling you what to do. Because, of course, you would love Pat Riley. He gave you the green light, Magic. That's not fair. See, really, I heard what Tigger say he like an old school coach like Pat Riley. I said, Pat Riley wasn't even a coach. They got him off the announce table, remember?
Right, that's when Paul Westhead took over.
Right, that's when he took over for Westhead.
Right.
Westhead already won a championship with them.
That's true, and Magic got Paul Westhead out the door.
Yeah, Magic didn't like the old school coach.
So, yeah, Pat Riley pretty much inherited a already made team pretty much.
Right, and Magic likes a coach like Phil Jackson that's just going to deal with the stars.
Right. And that's one thing about Phil. Phil never really won with a team that was built. It seemed like the teams he won with were already made. Now Greg Popovich, at least he won with teams that was built. All those Spurs championships, those were teams that were built and rebuilt.
Yeah, exactly.
And now speaking of Mark Jackson, it feels like that he's been blackballed. Do you agree?
Colin Kaepernick of the NBA.
Wow.
I'm going to tell you like this. Ticket like to talk about, it was his religion. It was his religion. Man, I don't want to hear that. You know what I think it was?
What do you think?
I think it was about, remember, his last year was after that Donald Sterling shit, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Remember, they was really considering not playing the game and shit like that.
Right, the Clippers.
Yeah, and it was the Clippers and the Warriors and all that shit. Man, I think that had something to do with it too. I wonder if Mark said some shit or did some shit.